Have you tried to learn a new language but weren't really satisfied with your progress? You took lessons but felt they weren't effective? Maybe you had a lack of time and couldn't continue. We all know learning a language can't be done overnight, but there's definitely a few things you can do to significantly boost your chances of success. I'm Pete, and in this video I'll be going over 5 different ways in which you can stay motivated while learning a language. Before we begin, it's very important that we explore the reason why you want to learn a language. This why will help you stay consistent and guide you forward throughout your good days, but especially through bad days when you're feeling tired and less motivated. Reasons for why could include being able to speak to your loved one in his or her native language, being able to work using the language, or even to understand your favourite song's actual lyrics. Reasons are plentiful, but you need to think about the real reason why you want to learn the language. For me, it's so that when I go travelling around South America, I can speak Spanish with the locals. Let's now go through the 5 ways you can stay motivated while learning your language. So you've got your why, but you also need to know when you've reached a point where you're happy with your progress, your goal. A goal which is specific. Really break this down to what you actually want to use it for and what level of knowledge you would genuinely be happy with reaching. For me, it's to be able to have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish. Defining your constraints. Now you know your goal, you can go through the constraints you may have. These are elements you need to work within to ensure they don't hinder your journey in any way. Usually, there are 3 key areas you need to think about. Your deadline, time you have available to commit, and any financial budget you can invest. Let's go over each of these. What's the deadline? We know a deadline is a fixed limit. We all need limits. Limits help us in terms of progression, as well as motivation. Much in the same way a sport finishes in a set time, or you have 1 hour to complete an exam. Setting a deadline helps narrow down your focus to what's important and what's bringing you your results. Create a fixed deadline in which you want to achieve your goal by, which is realistic. Write this down. This will serve as your goalpost. I'll be going traveling in 3 months, so my deadline will be 3 months. The second element is time. How much time could you realistically dedicate each day over a week or a month? Do you have a full-time job to work around, or do you just want to work towards your goal over the weekends? Everyone's circumstance is different, and these affect how much time you could realistically dedicate towards reaching your goal. I can realistically dedicate 2 hours every evening during weekdays working towards my goal. The third element is money. Do you have a budget? How much money could you comfortably and happily invest towards reaching your goal? Spending money isn't a necessity, but you can use it as a tool to help you with your journey. This could be for tutoring, group lessons, online courses, or even more materials like books. I can realistically set aside $200 a month to help me reach this goal, meaning I could invest $600 in total. You may already have some existing materials that could help you. These could be in the form of old books, a dictionary, an archive of videos. What resources do I have? What this means is figuring out what tools you have at your disposal. This is going to be different and specific to everybody. Some may have more money to spend, some may have more time to dedicate. Make a list of 2 or 3 starting resources you have. You can always add more later. You can also use this as an opportunity to research what resources will best help you reach your goal. Do you struggle with pronunciation? Could you mimic the songs in your target language? Or could a tutor help you with that? Do you think you'll need to use specific words or vocabulary often? Perhaps you'll be working in a hotel or volunteering as a doctor. Could you find a targeted vocabulary list in this niche? You need to distill your goal into its fundamentals and really focus on this. While researching my goal, I have identified that by learning the first 1,000 most frequently used words, I'll be familiar with over 80% of vocabulary in oral Spanish. For me, as I want to get a good conversational level as soon as possible, I think that will be a great resource to focus on. Also, I feel that 1,000 words over 3 months is realistic and achievable for me. Knowing these words is important, but also being able to conjugate them and actively use them in speech is equally as important. So another resource that helps me with this element will be crucial for helping me reach my goal. So I know I have 120 hours of time and about $600 of budget I can dedicate throughout my goal journey. So my 3 starting resources could be a third of my budget to a tutor over the first month for guidance, which means 10 hours of tutor time, $200 in total. The second element, to Spanish frequency dictionary for $25, which has 5,000 of the most commonly used words in the language. The third, the verb conjugation book, which will help me conjugate the verbs I learned in the past, present, and future tenses. Those are the 3 resources I'm going to start with. Then evaluate my progress at the end of my first month to see if I should continue that way or change my approach. If money's limited, Think about resources which don't come to the top of your mind too. Even things such as your friendship network or a local library. Ask if they have some books on the language themselves which they'd be willing to lend you. If you prefer not to pay for a tutor, perhaps you can find a language exchange website where you'd be able to find somebody who wants to learn a language in which you're fluent in, but they also know the language which you want to learn and can help you and each other learn and stay motivated. This person can also act as your accountability partner and you can be theirs. Creating your goal journey and milestones. A way that works well when crafting your goal journey is to work your way back from your target outcome, in other words your goal, and break it down to what you need to do to achieve it. We do this by setting up key measurable milestones along the journey, which gives you an indicator to know that you're still on track to reaching your goal. In my case, my goal journey is to take 3 months, so I'll set 3 key milestones for myself, one at the end of each month. And after each month, I can do a progress check. This could be in the form of a friend testing me on words that I've learned, my tutor checking how well I can conjugate the verbs I've learned that month, and at the end of the 3 months, I could try and have a 10-minute conversation with someone who's fluent in Spanish. These milestones will serve as indicators of your progress and will be excellent at keeping you motivated throughout your journey. When do I start? You've created the roadmap, now it's time to start the journey. You've understood why you're doing this, you've defined your goal, you know your constraints, what resources you have, your goal journey and milestones. Now you need to start. Set a start date that's convenient and just begin. There's nothing left to it but to do it. And that's it. Those are the 5 ways. By thinking about these ways to stay motivated and reflecting on them, it gives you an opportunity to think clearly about the journey in which you're going to undertake. If you don't know where you're going, then how do you know when you've reached your destination? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please subscribe. I'm Pete and we are Reachitt.